welcome back to the deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're going to be looking at the world of physics.
Right.
So get ready for some pretty mind-bending concepts.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of aha moments.
Yeah, there's going to be some aha moments.
And if you're enjoying these deep dives,
Yeah.
make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Deep Dive channel for more.
Absolutely. Come along on the ride with us.
So what's really fascinating about physics to you?
You know, it's not just about memorizing formulas, right?
Right.
It's more about understanding the universe at its most fundamental level.
Okay.
If you think about it like this,
Yeah.
you see this vast ocean with its waves and currents.
Right.
Physics wants to know what's happening at the level of the individual water molecules.
Oh, okay.
You know, how those interactions create the bigger picture.
So it's kind of like if you're watching a game,
Yeah.
you're trying to figure out the rules just by watching it.
Right, exactly.
I remember reading in one of our sources about how physicists use the scientific method, observation, reasoning, experimentation,
Oh, absolutely.
to try to piece together those rules.
Yeah, and sometimes
Right.
even the smallest miscalculation or unexpected observation can lead to a massive breakthrough
Wow.
in how we understand things.
So it's constantly refining.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's rewind the clock a bit here.
Okay.
Before this whole quantum revolution of the 1920s, how did physicists view the world?
Well, the picture was actually pretty elegant. They
Okay.
had space and time and particles and two fundamental forces, gravity, which obviously governs the motion of planets and stars,
Right.
and the intricate forces that bind atoms together.
Okay.
And with this model, they could explain quite a lot about the world around us, you know?
Wow.
Things like pressure, wind, heat, even sound.
It's amazing how much you can explain with just a few basic principles.
I know, right?
I love how the source material uses these vivid images to help us understand some of these concepts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like imagining wind is just a drift of atoms bumping into things.
Right.
It really brings it to life.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But what about the atoms themselves? How many different types were known back then?
Before 1920.
Yeah.
Well, they knew of 92 distinct elements,
Oh, wow.
each with its own unique properties.
Okay.
And they also understood that the atom had a nucleus
Mm-hmm.
containing positively charged protons and neutral neutrons
Right.
orbited by these much lighter negatively charged electrons.
Okay, so we've got our basic building blocks.
Right.
How do those building blocks stick together?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
they knew gravity was too weak to hold the atom together, so they focused on the concept of electrical force.
Okay.
And that's where, like, charges repel.
Right.
And unlike charges attract.
So if opposites attract, why doesn't the atom just collapse in on itself?
That is a great question.
You've got positive protons and negative electrons.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
At larger distances, the attractive and repulsive forces, you know, within the atom effectively cancel each other out.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you get really close,
Okay.
the internal structure of the atom kind of comes into play,
Oh, wow.
allowing for these stronger interactions between the charges.
I see.
Yeah,
So it's like a delicate dance.
it is.
Speaking of interactions, I remember the source material talking about something called the electromagnetic field.
Oh, yeah.
How did that change our understanding of forces?
Think of like a comb attracting bits of paper.
Okay.
It's not just a direct interaction, right?
Right.
There's this invisible field created by the comb that influences the paper.
Wow.
And that's similar to the electromagnetic field.
Okay.
It acts as a medium that carries the force.
So it's kind of like this invisible web
Yeah.
that extends through space,
Right.
transmitting the force between charged particles.
Exactly.
And here's where it gets really cool. This field can carry waves.
It can. And what sets these waves apart is their frequency.
Okay.
Think of it like a musical scale, where different frequencies produce different notes.
Right.
In the electromagnetic spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
low frequencies give us things like radio waves,
Wow.
while higher frequencies give us visible light,
Okay.
X-rays,
Uh-huh.
and even gamma rays.
Wait, so radio waves and light and X-rays are
Yeah.
essentially the same thing?
They are. It's just vibrating at different speeds.
That's blowing my mind a little bit.
I know, right?
But then enter stage left, quantum physics,
Yeah.
and things start to get a little weirder.
A little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It completely revolutionized our understanding, especially at the atomic level,
Yeah.
and showed that the rules we're used to in the everyday world don't quite apply at these incredibly small scales.
Don't. It's a different world down there.
Yeah. Things behave in ways that just defy common sense.
Yeah, they really do.
Like the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, one of the strangest things.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And I know our listeners will appreciate this.
Oh, they will.
The source material explained it in a way that finally clicked for me.
Oh, good.
That even at absolute zero, atoms never completely stop moving.
They don't.
Because we can't simultaneously know their exact position and momentum.
That's right. It's hard to pin them down, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So even if we know the rules of the universe, we can't perfectly predict every outcome.
We can't, and that's okay.
Oh,
It leaves room for mystery and wonder.
and then quantum physics throws us another curveball, the idea that waves can act like particles and particles can act like waves.
That's the mind-bending concept of wave-particle duality.
Okay.
Essentially, it means that light and matter can exhibit both wave-like and particle-like properties,
Okay.
depending on how they are observed.
So it's kind of like a coin, you flip it, and it could land on heads or tails.
That's a great way to think about it.
That's a bizarre way to think about reality.
I know, but that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You know, it challenges our perception
He really does.
and pushes the boundaries of what we thought we knew.
I know we're going to dive deeper into this in the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, absolutely.
But before we wrap up this part, I have to ask about the photon,
Yeah.
this particle of light that also behaves as a wave.
Right, the photon. It's a perfect example of this duality.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely explore it further next time.
Okay.
But for now, just hold on to that image of light as both a wave rippling through space
Okay.
and a stream of particles hurtling at incredible speeds.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
From atoms to electromagnetic fields to quantum weirdness.
Yeah.
Make sure to come back for part 2 where we unpack even more fascinating concepts in physics.
Looking forward to it.
I am too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's remarkable how physics isn't just some isolated thing.
Yeah.
It's the foundation for so many other scientific disciplines.
It really struck me when I was reading through the source material that physics is the secret code
Right.
underlying chemistry, biology, astronomy,
Absolutely.
even geology and psychology.
It really is, yeah.
So how does physics inform our understanding of chemistry?
Well, it's a beautiful two-way street, right?
Okay.
Early chemical discoveries provided crucial evidence for atomic theory,
Mm-hmm.
which is a cornerstone of physics.
Right.
And then quantum mechanics came along,
Yeah.
and it revolutionized our understanding of how atoms bond together
Yeah.
to form molecules and how chemical reactions occur and why different substances have the properties that they do.
So it's almost like physics gives us the blueprint,
Yeah.
and then chemistry figures out how to build all the amazing structures from that blueprint.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And the source material highlights
Yeah.
a really fascinating area where physics and chemistry intertwine.
Mm.
Statistical mechanics.
Yeah, statistical mechanics.
Wow, that sounds a little intimidating.
It does, yeah.
What is statistical mechanics?
So imagine trying to understand the behavior of a gas,
Okay.
which contains billions upon billions of individual atoms.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible to track the motion of each individual atom.
Right.
Statistical mechanics provides the tools to analyze and predict the behavior of such complex systems
Okay.
without getting bogged down in the individual details.
It's kind of like trying to predict the weather.
Yeah.
You can't possibly track every single air molecule, but you can use
Yes.
statistical models
Right.
to make reasonably accurate forecasts.
Exactly. And that's what they do.
Okay.
And that approach has been incredibly successful in explaining things like heat transfer,
Mhm.
the behavior of gases under pressure,
Right.
and even the properties of materials.
So we've gone from atoms to molecules.
Right.
But chemistry isn't just about mixing things in beakers.
No, it's not.
Our sources talk about organic chemistry,
Yeah.
which deals with the molecules of life.
Right.
So how does that connect?
Organic chemistry is like a bridge
Okay.
between the inanimate world of physics and chemistry
Hmm.
and the incredible complexity of living organisms.
And one of the key players in the chemistry of life is the enzyme.
Oh, yes, enzymes.
I was so fascinated by these when I first learned about them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Like tiny machines within our cells that facilitate all the chemical reactions necessary for life.
They really are. Think of them as nature's catalysts.
Okay.
You know, they speed up chemical reactions
Wow.
by a factor of millions,
Okay.
making life as we know it possible.
So how do they work?
Well, the source material had this great analogy.
Okay.
Imagine trying to push a boulder over a hill.
Okay, yeah.
It takes a lot of energy,
All
right?
right.
Enzymes are like these clever engineers
Uh-huh.
that create a tunnel through the hill, making the journey much easier.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It makes it very clear why enzymes are so essential.
They really are.
But what are these amazing machines made of?
Enzymes are actually a type of protein, which are large, complex molecules made up of chains of amino acids.
Okay.
And these amino acids are like letters of an alphabet.
Okay.
And their specific sequence determines the protein's unique shape and function.
So it's like a code,
It is like a code.
where the order of the letters determines the meaning of the word.
Yeah,
And this code is encoded in our DNA.
it is. In the
Yeah.
famous double helix
Right.
that carries our genetic information.
Yeah.
And it gets passed down from generation to generation, ensuring that offspring inherit the characteristics of their parents.
But how does the information in DNA actually get translated into proteins?
That's where RNA comes in.
Okay.
Think of RNA as a messenger molecule.
Right.
It carries instructions from the DNA
From the DNA. Right.
out to the ribosomes,
Okay.
which are like the protein factories of the cell.
They build the proteins.
They do. They read the RNA instructions and assemble the amino acids in
Right.
the correct order to
Yeah.
create the protein.
So it's like this complex communication system
It is.
within the cell, with DNA as the central library,
Yeah.
RNA as the messenger, and ribosomes as the manufacturing plants.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow.
It's a beautiful dance of molecules,
It is.
all orchestrated by the fundamental laws of physics and chemistry.
It's amazing how this journey from atoms to enzymes to DNA
Yeah,
shows how everything in the natural world is interconnected.
it really is.
Let's zoom out for a moment.
Okay.
Consider another connection: physics and astronomy.
Right, astronomy is perhaps the oldest science,
Yeah.
and its roots are very deeply entwined with physics.
Okay.
In fact, early observations of the stars and planets played a key role in the whole scientific revolution
Right.
and the development of modern physics.
So those distant stars
Yeah,
are actually made of the same stuff as we are.
they are, yeah.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
They're
yeah.
not some mystical, ethereal objects.
Yeah.
They're just giant balls of burning gas.
That's right, mostly hydrogen and helium.
It really underscores the unity of the cosmos.
Absolutely.
We can use our understanding of physics to analyze the light from stars,
Yeah, we can, and we do.
revealing their composition, temperature,
Their movement.
even their movement.
Yeah.
It's like taking a fingerprint of a star
Yeah,
from millions of light years away.
that's a great way to put it, yeah.
But how do we know how stars generate their energy?
That's a good question.
That always seemed like magic to me.
Well, that magic is actually nuclear fusion.
Okay.
It's the process of smashing lighter elements like hydrogen together
Right.
to form heavier elements like helium,
Mm-hmm.
releasing tremendous amounts of energy in the process.
So the light and heat we receive from the sun
Yeah,
are the result of nuclear reactions happening millions of miles away.
they are incredible, isn't it?
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and it gets even more amazing when you consider that the heavier elements in the universe,
Okay.
the ones that make up our planet and even our bodies, were forged in the hearts of dying stars.
We are quite literally made of stardust.
We are.
This connection between the microcosm of the atom and the macrocosm of the stars.
Right.
It's just incredible.
It's beautiful.
It's like physics is the thread that weaves the entire tapestry of the universe together.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
This has been an incredible exploration of how physics intertwines with other scientific fields.
It really has, hasn't it?
But we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover in our physics deep dive.
There is. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve even deeper
Okay.
into the relationship between physics and the wider world,
Okay, looking forward to that.
including some surprising connections you might not expect.
So we've explored the atom, zoomed out to the stars.
Right.
But what about, the ground beneath our feet?
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued by how physics connects to geology.
Yeah, it's fascinating
Yeah.
how physics helps us understand the Earth's structure, its history, the forces that shape it. Think about like the formation of mountains.
Yeah.
The rumble of earthquakes,
Right.
the fiery spectacle of volcanoes.
Wow.
These are all driven by these physical processes deep within the Earth.
So it's not just rocks and minerals.
Yeah.
There's actual physics happening beneath the surface.
Oh, yeah. Take, for instance, plate tectonics.
Okay.
This theory, which explains how the Earth continents drift
Right.
across the globe,
Yeah.
is rooted in our understanding of heat flow
Okay.
and convection currents within the Earth's mantle.
So it's almost like a giant pot of boiling water
It is.
with the continents slowly drifting on the surface.
Yeah, that's a great way to visualize it.
And when we study earthquakes,
Right.
we rely heavily on physics to understand how seismic waves
You do.
travel through the Earth,
Yeah.
allowing us to map its internal structure and identify different layers.
Absolutely. But even with all of this knowledge, there are still some geological mysteries that physics hasn't fully cracked.
Like what?
We still don't fully understand the precise mechanisms that trigger earthquakes
Right.
and volcanic eruptions.
Right.
The behavior of rocks under the extreme pressures and temperatures
Yeah.
deep within the Earth is still an area of ongoing research.
There's always more to learn.
Absolutely, yeah.
This deep dive's already taken us from the infinitely small to the incredibly vast.
It has.
But our sources also point to a connection between physics and something, well, even closer to home, our own minds.
Oh, right.
So how does physics relate to psychology?
This is where things get really interesting and, frankly, a little mind-boggling. The human brain is incredibly complex.
It is.
You know, with billions of neurons
Right.
interconnected in these intricate networks.
One of the biggest challenges in psychology is understanding how the brain works, right?
It is, yeah.
How it processes information, forms memories, creates consciousness.
That's right, yeah.
So how do we bridge that gap?
It's a frontier of science where physics does play a crucial role.
Okay.
Because we know that neurons communicate through electrical and chemical signals.
Right.
And physics helps us to understand how those signals propagate through the brain, how they interact, and how they might give rise to our thoughts and experiences.
But how do we bridge the gap between those physical processes and the subjective world of our thoughts and emotions and consciousness?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
You know, the analogy to computers is often used
Right.
with the neurons as the processing units and synapses as the connections. But the brain is infinitely more complex than any computer we've ever built.
That's true.
You know? It's capable of learning, adapting, creating in ways that we can't even begin to replicate.
One of the biggest mysteries, though,
Yeah.
is how memory works.
Yeah.
You know, where are memories actually stored in the brain? What are the physical traces of our experiences?
That's a question that continues to puzzle scientists.
Yeah.
Imagine searching for, like, a specific grain of sand on a vast beach.
Wow.
That's essentially what it's like trying to pinpoint the physical location of a memory
Right.
within the brain's intricate network.
It's fascinating and a little daunting
It is.
to think that even our most personal, subjective experiences
Right.
have their roots in the physical world,
They do.
in the interactions of atoms and molecules.
Yeah, it all circles back to that fundamental idea we talked about at the beginning. You know, everything in the universe, from the smallest particles to the most complex living organisms, operates according to the laws of physics.
That's right. This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored the vastness of the cosmos, delved into the inner workings of atoms, even touched on the mysteries of our own minds.
We did.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive
Yeah.
into the fascinating world of physics. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a brand new topic.
Always more to explore.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep wondering about the universe and all its mysteries.
Yeah, absolutely.